Finally, I'm free from you. Yes, I'm divorcing you because I no longer need you. I'm going to inherit $1,980,000. I had done so much for my husband, but he didn't appreciate it and simply tried to leave me. Okay, here are the divorce papers. After the divorce was finalized, I sold the house and moved out immediately. My husband doesn't know about the secret behind his father-in-law's inheritance yet. My name is Ilara, a 55-year-old housewife. I was married to my husband, Darian, for 27 years. My daughter, Leora, is 26 years old and just got married last year. She's really close with her husband and shares stories about her love life every time she visits. It makes me smile to see my daughter so happy, and I'm relieved her marriage is going well. Leora, I'm glad you look happy. Mum, are you okay? Isn't it hard to look after Grandpa? I've been doing it for years now and I'm used to it. Besides, he'll be hospitalized soon, so I won't have to do that anymore. Is he? It's unfortunate that he's getting worse, but I'm a little relieved that your burden will be eased. I shouldn't say things like this, though. Thank you for worrying about me, Leora. If you ever need assistance, I'm always here for you. Tavian, my husband, is happy with it. That's great to hear, but I'm still well enough. I won't need assistance for another 30 years. That's true, thank you, though. That's very kind of you. Enjoy your new married life with Tavian. Okay, thanks. I am very grateful that my daughter shows up regularly. To be honest, I'm struggling to care for him every day, and it's tough. We started living with my husband's parents about 5 years ago. They wanted to live together much earlier, but I said it was impossible until my daughter graduated from university and started living on her own. My husband complained, but my daughter's well-being was more important to me. I wanted her to concentrate on her studies without any worries. Suddenly having 2 more people to live with would be confusing for a child. Besides, I wasn't ready for it yet. A year after we started living together, my mother-in-law developed leg and back problems, which required care. My life as a caregiver began then. Until that point, I had been working part-time for my daughter's tuition and our retirement. But I couldn't do that anymore and became a full-time housewife, taking care of my in-laws all day long. Fortunately, my in-laws weren't the type to bully their daughter-in-law, so I wasn't treated terribly by them. But it was still tough, and I was exhausted both mentally and physically every day. Besides, my father-in-law also became ill and needed care, followed by my mother-in-law. The hardest part was that my husband left everything to me. You're a full-time housewife. It's your job to take care of them. Do it well, and don't cause trouble for my parents, he'd say, leaving all the care to me. Of course, he didn't help with any housework. He'd claim that earning money was enough and his only responsibility. Ideally, my husband, their biological child, should be the one taking care of his own parents. However, even if I said that, he wouldn't listen. It would just lead to a fight. So I put up with it and continued giving them care. Although life as a caregiver was tough, I got used to it, and after a year or 2, it became less overwhelming. Then, 2 years after we started living with them, my mother-in-law passed away due to illness, and I only had to care for my father-in-law. My burden eased a little. Now, I'm just coasting, staying married and continuing to care for him. But it will end soon because my father-in-law is going to be hospitalized. Just because the caregiving is over doesn't mean I'll get any rewards or that my income will increase. All I have is the feeling of finally letting myself go and a bit of accomplishment. Lately I've been worried because my husband's attitude has become very overbearing. Until now he left me to do all the housework and care for the family, acting bossy but not saying anything too terrible. However, recently, every time he sees me, he says something awful like, "You really have an unfortunate face. Just being with you seems to make my luck go down. Please get out of my sight when I eat." He makes me cook dinner, then tells me to leave the living room when it's time to serve it. Although he's behaved badly in the past, it was never this unreasonable. Recently he's been busy at work, working overtime and coming home late at night, and bar hopping all weekend. However, on Mondays and Tuesdays he often finishes work on time and comes home straight after. It's at those times that he gets arrogant with me and stresses me out. "Hey, why haven't the programs been recorded?" "Oh, I was recording the drama I watch." "Don't mess around. There's a program I want to watch at this time on this day. Cancel your recording." Do you have a problem? Who do you think is paying for this TV and the electricity to watch it?" "Okay, I'll cancel my recording." "Come on, quick, you idiot. You're always like that. You're an old bat and can barely do housework. You're so cocky. It's just awful. Why do I have to be told such things? I took care of my in-laws, cooked meals every day, and even made my husband's lunch, but there's no gratitude. I'm mentally overwhelmed by the abusive words he hurls at me face to face. I didn't think I could take it any longer. It feels suffocating to have my husband in the house with me. That's why I don't want to stay home on weekends, and I've been trying to visit my father-in-law since he was hospitalised." "Hey, Ilara, Dad, are you all right?" "Thank you so much for everything, and I'm sorry." "What happened? This is so out of the blue." "I realise that I haven't been grateful enough until now. You've worked hard to take care of my wife and me. Darian left everything to you and thought of us as a nuisance. I wonder what would have happened to us if you weren't there. I'm really grateful. Dad, I'm sure you must be having a very hard time right now. Hasn't he been acting differently towards you?" "How did you know that?" "Well, I heard the conversations every now and then in the living room, even when I was in my room. I could sort of guess when I saw your tired face." "Did I look that tired? I'm really sorry for causing you trouble." No, Dad, you haven't done anything wrong." "That's not true. Actually, I was told a startling truth by my father-in-law. I see then I can understand why my husband has been acting differently. Perhaps he wants to break up with me and is behaving so badly, waiting for me to say that I want a divorce. No way. I'm not letting him get what he wants. I was determined to fight him. After that, I went through a lot to get ready. A few months later, my father-in-law's health declined, and he passed away. Because I visited him every day, I was able to be present at the end. Even then, he expressed his gratitude, which made all my hard work worthwhile. My father-in-law's funeral took place afterward. My husband left all the arrangements and preparations to me, but served as the chief mourner, shedding tears in front of relatives to gain sympathy. Watching him, I felt like I was drifting away from him quickly. My husband had only to advantage of me and claimed all the good parts. I don't think I should be praised, but he took all the credit, which was very unpleasant. My daughter had also seen how I did all the care and housework, and he left it all to me, so she gave him a frosty look. Later, my father-in-law's funeral went well, and I was at home with my daughter and her husband. My husband said he was going out for a while, got dressed and left. My daughter was disgusted with him. "What? It's strange to go out after his own father's funeral. Where on earth does he have to go?" My daughter pouted. "He's probably going to see the other woman." When I said that, my daughter and her husband looked shocked. "What the heck? The other woman? Is Dad having an affair?" she asked, her eyes wide open. I showed her the evidence I had collected from the detective agency. "Wow, that's disgusting. Why is he having an affair?" "He seems to have misunderstood that he would receive a large amount of money, so he went to a nightclub and tried to hit on that girl. Your grandpa talked about the inheritance money to him. He apparently didn't mention the debt, only the money he would get. Dad is really stupid, isn't he? Yes, he is. Of course, I'm not going to take on debt with him. I'm going to leave him before then. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll cut ties with him too. I hope you can get divorced soon, Mum. If there's anything we can do, we'll help you with anything. Thank you, Leora. Encouraged by my daughter, I felt braver about separating from my husband. A little while later, I had settled most of the funeral-related matters for my father-in-law. Then one day my husband told me he had something to tell me. What is it about? I asked. I'm finally free from you. I'm divorcing you. I'm going to receive $1,980,000 of inheritance money, so I don't need you anymore. Inheritance money? I asked in surprise. He grinned and had a triumphant look on his face. You know, you were a really useless wife. As you got older, I couldn't see you as a woman. I'm leaving you and going to have a free life. How much had I done for my husband? He didn't thank me for any of it and simply tried to leave me. I knew it would happen, but hearing it made my blood boil. Okay, here are the divorce papers, I said, taking them from the drawer and presenting them to him. What the heck? You had them ready? How come? Because you've been speaking harshly to me so much lately. If I'm mentally cornered like that, I will consider divorce. Well, that's just fine, he said without apologizing. He took the divorce papers and started filling them in. Here you go. We are completely unrelated now. Register this quickly, pack up your stuff and leave. I'll be living in a hotel until you go because there's $1,980,000 coming in. He laughed loudly as he packed some clothes in his carry-on suitcase and left. He says he's living in a hotel, but I think he's going to the other woman. It seems like he's trying to proceed with the divorce as if he's not having an affair. I registered the divorce papers with the city council. Immediately after the divorce was finalised, I sold the house and quickly moved out. He still doesn't know about the secret hidden in my father-in-law's inheritance. When I informed my ex-husband that I had completely moved out, he laughed and said, "It took so long, but it's okay because I can start a new life now." But a few days later my ex-husband called me. "Hey, why is the house for sale?" "Oh, because I sold it." "What the heck are you doing? That house belongs to me, doesn't it?" "What are you talking about? That house is under my name as the owner. It's my personal choice to sell it." "What? You kept quiet about it on purpose, didn't you?" "I didn't. You just didn't ask me anything. I didn't think you would forget such an important thing. But since you received $1,980,000, why don't you live happily with your new girlfriend?" "What? Oh, did you think I didn't know about your affair? I've already investigated and have all the evidence. I'll have you pay me compensation through my lawyer." "Ugh, well, it doesn't matter if you knew or not. I don't care if I give you a small amount of money," he said, laughing. "Okay, that's good then. The lawyer will contact you," I said and hung up the phone. A little while later, my lawyer informed me that everything had been settled. Apparently my ex-husband had been griping about the payment of compensation. He had already learned about the details of his father's will while communicating with the lawyer. My father-in-law did have assets of about $1,980,000, but he had more debts than that. What was left to my ex-husband was a debt of about $66,000. With the $20,000 in compensation added, his debt totaled around $86,000. Far from becoming a millionaire, he ended up with a lot of debt. He couldn't afford to pay compensation and even got down on his knees and apologized to the lawyer. However, I told my lawyer not to stop demanding compensation, even if it meant seizing his salary. so the lawyer didn't change the demand. My ex-husband eventually agreed to pay. When the girl he had an affair with found out he wasn't going to receive a large amount of money, she paid only the compensation and disappeared. He also tried to get help from our daughter and her husband, but she had already deleted his contact number and moved out, so he couldn't count on her either. Currently, he is living in a shabby flat, just going back and forth between work and home, living a poor life and paying off his debts. Apparently, he got what he deserved. On the other hand, I initially stayed with my daughter and her husband, then bought an apartment with the money from selling the house. It is near where my daughter and her husband live, so I often go out for dinner and tea with them. Since I'm still of working age, I started working at a supermarket close to my house. I've decided to enjoy my life fully from now on. The first thing to do is earn money, and I'll go on as many trips as my body allows.